Test, so that works. Trend. D-ball. Analar, if there's any women here. Eric left, right. Hello testing, master on, equipoise. Hefferoid. That stopped everybody. I know Mark asked the question, and I know everybody's not in here yet, but all you guys work in public sector, private sector, just shout out professions. Private. College. But everybody's training somebody. How many just by hands are responsible for reviewing profit and loss statements or anything like that? Okay, so not that many. Yeah. Are you ready? I mean, is everybody back? I know that some of the children have left the building, so this is getting better every second. We got a little baby over here. How old's the baby? Oh, can't hear shit I said. I can't fuck that kid up yet. Okay, so we are good. I'm back there the whole day like, man, can I pull this together and not say fuck one time?
Thanks, our nephew's going to be
What's that?
Our nephew's staying with us tonight, and so I'm just calling everyone fucking idiots.
Well, didn't he just leave?
Dumbass.
Is he coming back?
No.
See? I'm back there stressing, you know, Eric's talking about stress, and I'm like, them little fucking kids. Aw, man. Thinking to myself, this is going to be a big test, man. Can I do it? I even wrote my book up here, Don't Sweat. Now I can write it. Fuck it. Do we know if everybody's back? Do you have any idea?
I think other individuals too.
Okay. I would say that he'll send you my slides, which you probably can't, but I never have a lot of information on the slides. Most of the presentations I do is just to make you guys think a little bit. And then because it's a smaller group, I'm condensing it for Q&As, because you might have Q&As that are all over the place. So don't worry about scribbling notes and all that other kind of shit. Just think, you know, and listen.
Do you give a different presentation when your hoodie doesn't have sleeves?
When what?
Your hoodie doesn't have sleeves?
Yes. Instagram followers, sticking with me.
I'm sticking with you, man. All 48 slides.
Keep. My goal is to get rid of 100,000 people. Without any political post, no gun post, and none of that crap. Just being a dick. The backstory on that for people who are following, I am at Under the Bar if you care to follow and watch this disaster happen, is when Instagram first came out, I signed up just to make sure I had the handle, because it's the same on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else. And then interns took care of it. So it's only been the last 2 years that I've actually tried to like use it for anything. And when I got on it, they're like 200,000 followers. I'm like, this shit ain't right. You know, they posted like reposts of other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, half of them are probably bots, which who cares? I can't do anything about that. Can't offend a bot, you know. They're not going to comment. They're just dead space. And then who the hell are these other people? All right. And then I was told a couple weeks ago, you really should probably just cut it and start over, because you'll have better engagement. I'm like, well, what if I just get rid of the people who really don't want to be there? And the guy I was talking to was like, well, how do you plan on doing that? And I said, yeah, let me take care of that. Hashtag savage, beast mode. I just started going after all that. I started trolling myself, if you're not following me. So I posted exercise, I trolled the crap out of myself, 100,000 people, or 100 people disappeared. Like, cool, start trolling yourself and use hashtags like beast mode, hardcore, grind.
Great.
Yeah, I always forget one of the guy, same dude keeps sending a comment. I can't remember it right now, but it cracks me up every time he puts it in there. It's not winning, it's anyhow. I'm having fun doing it. The stories though, and I'll get to that when I get to that section. Everybody here now? Okay. I did change this up a bit, like I told you guys. And the title, I'm afraid I'm going to fall off the stage. It can make for a great video of somebody's saying. All I need to know about life, I learned in the gym. I actually wrote a book about this years ago, many years ago, called Under the Bar. And to start off with, just to have some fun, last night I scribbled some things down as examples of this, such as, keep your crotch out of my fucking face. You know when you're in the gym and that person comes to give you the lift off and they're stepping up here and the shorts are in your freaking face, the crotch is in your face and all that? Don't do that shit. All right, so that's a life lesson. Don't go sticking your crotch in people's face when they don't want it. Number one. Number two, if you need to have a safe space, stay the fuck away from the iron and stay away from the steel and stay away from things when things get heavy. That's what the machine area is for. I have to come back to these because these I listed last night. I have real ones. These are just plain shit I came up with. Don't smell like shit. Everybody knows that, right? Actually, they don't. Because every gym I've ever been to, there's that one person that always smells like shit. I can mention a time at Westside where it was so bad that somebody almost got thrown out of the gym. Then the next time they showed up, they got peppered with Lysol. But then every time since then was sprayed down with Lysol when this person walked into the gym. Don't smell like shit. It's not going to help your life. You can't fake strong, which is something that Louis always talked about. When you are in the gym, there's different kind of spotters. Oh man, there's different. And keep in mind, I have a different view set at the gym because I've only trained in a commercial gym about 3 months of my entire life. So all the other years from 13 until 50, I was in a private gym. But I was in these gyms long enough to know that there's the idiot that wants you to give him a lift off, and then you end up doing 3 sets of rows. All right? Those are not the type of people you want in your life. They just make everything too friggin' heavy. There's the other ones that just want you to stand there. For whatever reason, I don't know why. You know, then there's the other ones that stick your crotch in your face and so forth. But so there's different types of people who ask for lift-offs, handouts, and so forth in life. So you want to be weary of those that are going to ask for the handout and then make you do all the heavy lifting. Because those are not the people you need in your life. Now the people that ask for the handout and all you got to do is bump it a little bit to help them get them up, those are the type of people you want to have in your life. But realize they're there. And I'm trying to take lessons I've learned as a 12-year-old starting training in the gym and show you how everything we learn in the gym relates back to life. And it makes me wonder sometimes when I see colleagues and associates and friends of mine that grew up in the gym environment not be able to take simple things like I just described there and apply it to life. Because it's really, the gym's a microcosm of life. Oh God, here's a good one. Actually, before I go to this one, do you guys have any? Just stupid things that you've learned in the gym that carry over to life. Shout it out. You gotta have one.
Always put your shit away.
Always put your shit away. That's a good one.
Work on your weaknesses.
Work on your weaknesses. That's a good one. Most people don't understand that in the gym, though. But that's a good one. I'll give you credit for that. I'll give you like half credit.
Learn to strain.
Learn to strain. That's a good one.
Stand your ground.
Stand your good one. That's a ground. That's a good one.
Quit telling me how good you used to be.
Yeah, that's a real good one. I'm that dude now. I'm the guy at the side of the table. You know when you're in the gym and that person walks up to you and you really don't know them that well, you really don't like them that well, and they say, hey dude, what are you training today? Just fucking smack them in the face. That's not how you go about trying to find a training partner. All right? That sucks. And being the person on the other side of that conversation, my answer has always been, and I've always been a dickhead pretty much my whole life. It's always been not what you are. And then they just kind of go away. But the lesson to kind of take from that is, you know, I was thrown into this powerlifting thing kind of on accident. You know, I was troubled youth. I don't want to get into all that, but put into a barbell club, which was a powerlifting club, because it was half owned by the chief of narcotics. And police trained there, and then there was a chiropractor that was the other owner. But anyhow, I was taken out of an environment, put in an environment with some of the guys I knew, you know, because they were officers and I had a relationship with, kind of, with some of them. So it was to change my path, to change my trajectory. My father had the insight that let's put him with these guys that can be a more positive influence. And turned out to be. So with that, I learned a lot of these things that we're talking about in the gym. But with that, I learned there's a kind of a pecking order, and it may not be there so today, but I'm squatting, you know, with like the weak crew. I want to squat with the strong motherfuckers. You know, so I'm trying to figure out how do I squat with the strong dudes, what time do they train? And I know I can't just show up and train when they train, because then I'm going to be training alone. So I had to figure out, you know, at a real young age, like how do I get away from these people that suck and get with the people that are good, because I was kind of hanging with the people that I was training with. And at 13 years old, I figured they can't be that good. If they're like 30 and I'm 13, they got to kind of suck, or I'm some fucking protege, which I'm not. And so how do I get with this other crew without getting the shit slapped out of me and knowing that the one dude's arrested me 3 times beforehand? So I learned you overlap the training. You're kind of there when they're starting. You're leaving when they're starting. Or you start when they leave, or you do extra training sessions. You're in their vision. You're in their peripheral. They see you training hard. You know, they see, hey, this kid's serious. He's showing up every day. He's here every day, and, you know, at the same time or whatever it is. So I was training actually twice. I was training in one group, then I'd come back in and train again just to try to get the attention of the other guys to be able to say, hey man, why don't you come in? You know, let me show you how to squat. And maybe 4, 5, 6 months later, you know, they say, hey, why don't you come in and squat with us? All right, so now then I'm squatting with them. And then the squat starts to go up because I have better coaching, I have better. All right, and then when I went to college, the same thing kind of started over again. It's like, okay, now I'm at a different gym. Who trains here? You know, we didn't have social media back then. So it's like, first off, what gym to go to? So you're calling all these gyms. Do you have powerlifters in there? You know, how serious are they? Are they strong? What time do they train? So you're trying to get a general idea of where the best people train. And I always sought out the best. But I didn't just show up and say like, hey dudes, I'm a powerlifter too. Let's knock out the squats today. It didn't work that way. I had to show up and I had to start training there. And again, I would start training a little bit earlier. So by the time they came in, they'd see me, you know, kind of with my top sets, you know, the heavier sets. And they'd notice, hey, this kid's kind of strong. You know, now this kid's consistent. You know, they see over a period of time. And then small talk, you know, starts, like, hey, what's going on? You know, hey, have you competed before? You know, they start asking me questions. Then I build that relationship. Then now I'm part of that crew. All right, then eventually I became the top guy of that crew. And then it moved on to another gym, same process, all over again. Then it moved on to Westside, same process, all over again. The reason I'm pointing this out to you is I get bombarded every day by people that say, will you be my mentor? And it's not how life works. Life works like that I just explained. It works like the gym. Get in the peripheral. Make small contact. Make small contact. Then you're able to build a relationship. And then from there, there's the mentorship. You know, that's how trust is earned. You know, trust is earned through one way is education that we use at Elite FTS. That's why we've gone to the FTS, T for trust. Because if I educate you a little bit 20 years ago, a little bit 10 years ago, a little bit 5 years ago, and we keep educating people, then you start to develop trust. You know, I don't feel as a company we could use that word trust until now, and that's 20 years in business. But that overriding lesson from the gym is strategically seek out the mentors, if you want to, I don't even call them mentors, training partners is what I call them. People who share the same goal, that have walked the path, that are a little bit ahead of you. You know, strategically seek those out. Just don't expect they're going to be there. And don't expect you can walk up and say, hey, what are you guys training today? Because you might get in the group, but you're never going to be respected. And you'll never be able to lead the group. All right, now I can get into my actual, unless you did that spark any more from you guys? Because now I'm going to get into the stuff I actually prepared for.
I'd say show up.
Show up. That should be a fucking given, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it really should. I mean, I've done rants and all that about that, you know, showing up and consistency and all that, that you don't go to the gym once a month and expect to make gains. You know, it just doesn't happen that way. All right, so what happened here? We dead? Nope. I got the beeper though. All right, this is a quick slide. Motivation's bullshit. All right, what I wanted to do here, I wanted to have fun with this presentation and do something a little bit different than what I've normally done. I can get up here and give a live, learn, pass on and do the same crap that I've done hundreds of times before. But I wanted to go a different route and find some of the best, this is so fucking funny too, some of the best motivational quotes that are out there and tell you why they're bullshit. And this is funny because we've already heard 3 of them today. Just sitting up here in the Q&A, I leaned over to, if you saw me lean over to Nate, I'm like, these guys are fucked. But they're not here. Number 1, these are in no specific, and I used to actually have this in one of my seminars years ago as an attribute that you should do. Act as if you're already there. How many have heard that statement? What a crock of shit that is. Okay, so if you want to be a millionaire, act like you're a millionaire. If you want to be a 1,000-pound squatter, act like you're a 1,000-pound squatter. Do what 1,000-pound squatters do. You know, if you want to be successful in business, act like the person that's successful in business. Made sense to me. Hell, I used to give seminars motivating people to do that very thing. And it's bullshit. Because when I think back to it, let's go back to the gym now. Everything I've learned in life, I learned in the gym. If I went into the gym and acted as if I was a 600-pound squatter and I was a 400-pound squatter and started working up, what's going to happen? I'm going to get fucking crushed. And here's the other thing, if you've been around the sport of powerlifting, bodybuilding, or anything else, the more you advance in the sport, you go from beginner to intermediate to advanced, what happens when you get at that higher level? The amount of work that you actually need to do as far as, I gotta define this word work, perceived effort from somebody looking on is far less. All right, what I have to do, and I work mainly with just the top lifters, I spend 95% of my time getting them to back off. And a lot of times it's 1-2 exercises, get the hell out of here. And they're done. Now, if that beginner power lifter was to act as if they were that 900, 800 pound squatter, and they came in, squatted, and did abs and left, are they gonna make any progress? No. Work capacity is different, right? The needs have changed, all right? They have to do what they need to do to progress forward, all right? You can't, if you want to act as if you're a millionaire, or you act as if you're a CEO. I want to act as if I'm a Fortune 500 CEO. I'm a CEO. I got less than 20 employees, but fuck that. I want to have a Fortune 500 company. I'm going to act as if I have one. Well, where the hell are my assistants? Where's my receptionist? You know, where's all the shit I can delegate my stuff out to? I can't. You know, so the statement is bullshit. The takeaway is act as if what you really fucking are and do it. That's not saying you can't get to where you need to go, or you don't want to look to see what people that have gone before you have done. You want to follow the same path they follow, not duplicate the position that they're in, because it's totally different. The work that you do, the work I do now, 20 years into a business, is way different than I did 3 years into a business. As is the same with the gym. So 15 years ago, when I was giving the West Side seminar and telling everybody to act as if I could go back and talk to myself, I wouldn't even say a word, I'd just punch myself in the mouth. And tell people to be realistic with where you are and do the work that's required to move off that spot to the next spot. Don't be consumed with that spot that's way over there because it's out of range, it's out of your sight. Be more consumed with the next step you have to take instead of the whole fucking staircase. That one wasn't mentioned earlier. This one was. Fucking Serrano. But he also threw in kids, so you don't want your kids hanging around a bunch of trash. You become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. How many times have y'all heard that? Okay, I spend the most of my time with a 15-year-old autistic son, a 14-year-old son who is a complete pain in the ass, my wife, who's probably the most assertive person I've ever known in my life, and then I gotta really start thinking. Because as Wendler said in his presentation at our last seminar, when you're leading something, it's not the most glamorous thing. You're not like surrounded with a whole lot of friends. So, what am I supposed to do? You know, if I want, let's fall back on the general things again. If I want to be a millionaire, find 5 millionaires. Start hanging out with them. So in other words, tell my family to fuck off because they're not at the same level. Or even more so, if any of my friends from high school or college I used to train with ever call me to do something, I'm talking to them, tell them to fuck off, forget where I come from. So I'm supposed to forget where I come from, Tell those people who are right in front of me to fuck off and go seek out people who are millionaires that I don't even know who the hell they are. Does that make any sense? And this is the context that this is usually used in. That if you are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if your people are a bunch of scumbags, go find somebody else. What if you're the person that's supposed to bring those scumbags up? Anybody ever think about that? Anybody ever think about if you have this supreme group of mastermind fucks? That there's one of them in there thinking, hey, these other 4 guys are holding me down. Fuck them, I gotta find a better group. Focus on yourself. That's the takeaway. Focus on what you have control of. Focus on what's going on right now. Focus on your own development. Focusing on this is bullshit. If you forgot about that and just said, you know what, screw that. I'm gonna enjoy the time I have with the 5, 10, 15, 20 people that are in front of me right now. How much better of a life you think you're gonna have? Take advantage of and enjoy the time with the people that are in front of you now, not the people you should be in front of. You do that, success, happiness, all that takes care of itself. Because you know what happens in the gym? You got 5 people in a monolith, you got 5 people in a rack. They ain't leaving. Well, you can throw them out. But in the gym, that's how it works. There is no ism in the gym except strengthism. All right, and the strongest person usually is the one that's going to be held in the highest respect or the highest regard, at least how I've come up in the gyms that I've come through. That doesn't mean that's a good person. It just means in the gym, this dude rules the roost, you know, and that is something that to strive for. But there should be, you know, and I see it starting to drift away, which is why I want to tune in this type of lecture. I don't see that. I see that fucking societal bullshit coming into the gym. So where we are seeing that crap in the gym that wasn't there before. There used to be no sexism, there was no racism, there was none of that other shit in the gym. It was, if there was any ism, it was, you fucking squat 200 pounds, you suck. You squat 600. You know, it was strengthism, that was it. All right, and that's how it should be, because the gym is that equalizer to where everybody goes in and everybody's the same. Everybody's training for the same thing. That's why we all love to go to the gym. That's why the gym helps us to become who we are and to become better people. That's the power that we have there. So again, it's another lesson from the gym thrown out to society that doesn't, I think everybody should train. You know, if everybody trained and was forced to train with people they don't like, within 6 months, I'm not saying there's not going to be conflict, battle, and people getting pissed off and drama. It's in every fucking gym. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. But within 6 months, they're all helping each other move forward. Or they leave. You know, there is no of that other bullshit. Somebody said this one too. Just read that sentence for a second. Now I want you to think about it. How grammatically stupid is that? Seriously, get comfortable being uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, then you're not going to be uncomfortable. It's just a stupid statement. And I know what they're trying to say. I know what that's all about. Is you have to have adversity. You have to have risk, you have to have adversity. But life kind of takes care of this as long as you step into it. You know, and don't step away and don't pivot away. As long as you step into adversity, as long as you know adversity is there, always, it's part of life, then this is the stupidest statement ever. Because you're going to, what bothers you now compared to what bothered you 10 years ago, if the thing that happened 10 years ago happened to you now, it's like irrelevant. It's like not even a blip on the radar. As long as you keep stepping into the storm. You know, you stay in the fucking rain. Don't come inside when it's raining. Stay in the fucking rain and be ready for the hurricane. That's life. You know, I'm not going to give some kind of Rocky speech, but life is basically just a bunch of adversity with prosperity sprinkled here and there. That's my opinion of life. That's how it's always been for me. It's never been fucking easy. All right, so if you think your story is worse than somebody else's, and somebody else hasn't been through more shit than you have, or somebody else hasn't had to deal with this or deal with that, you're sadly mistaken. You're very fucking wrong. There's people who have had to deal with a hell of a lot more that have gone a lot further than what you are, that never let it hold them back. People move forward off of adversity either because of, in spite of, or despite of it. That's a choice. Now, what goes into how that choice is factored, I can't explain that. I don't know that. But I know we can take two kids from similar backgrounds, terrible backgrounds. One of them goes on to be a CEO, the other one goes on to prison. Same background, same circumstances, what's the change? What's the difference? Well, somewhere there was a personal choice made, and I also do strongly believe somewhere there was somebody that said one thing that had that person pivot, you know, and step a different direction, which will be one of the other slides that I'm going to talk about. But it's never fucking comfortable. That's the point. It's never fucking comfortable. That's what it should say. It's never fucking easy. It's never fucking comfortable. Get used to it, wipe your tears, and fucking get back out there. Dumbest statement. Just grammatically, again, look at it, grammatically. It doesn't even make sense, but you hear it all the time. Oh, you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, what the hell does that even mean? Because if I'm comfortable, then I'm... It's still, every time I repeat it in my head, I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. Because I'll tell you what, that shit certainly don't fly in the gym. Right? Do I even have to explain that? Hey, you're training today, and what I want you to be able to do is be comfortable the whole fucking workout. Don't strain. And if you do strain, don't strain that hard, so that time, next time you come in, it won't feel like you're really straining. All this stuff you learn in the gym with a fucking barbell and a power rack. Oh, this is great. Work smart, not hard. I heard this one today too. How do you know what the fuck smart is? Today, today I'm speaking. So Monday, I want to go into the office and I want to work smart. Not hard, just smart. The fuck is that? So there's the first problem with this. How do you know what smart is unless you're actually doing a lot of work? You have to do enough work to make mistakes to know that didn't work, this does work. So this whole work smart, not hard, you need hard work to be able to determine what the fuck is smart. It should be work hard to figure out what's smart. Because I can't come and say, here, this is your smart work because I got 20 years experience and I can say this is what you should spend your time on. My path is different, my mountain's different, my objectives are different, my adversity is different, my fucked up head works differently than yours. I can't tell you that it's smart for you to be able to get up at 5 a.m. and go for a fucking walk and that's gonna solve all your problems. I can't tell you that. The only way you know what smart work is to work hard. And the problem today is people don't want to work hard. You know, it started with that whole 4-hour work week bullshit. You know, you have your own business, yes, you know, I've been doing this long enough that I can sit here and say I've had my own business. I've had some weeks that maybe I had to work 20 hours, good weeks. You know, other weeks I've had to work 30. A lot of weeks I had to work 70, 80, 100. All of last March, I averaged 14 hours a day for the whole month. And this is after 20 years in business with a staff. Hard work never fucking stops. It's not like it's like, oh, that hard work's over. Now I'm just gonna do smart stuff. That's bullshit. Again, does that work in the gym? You know, if you're trying to make progress in the gym, can you get to a point where it's like, oh, finally, I can just coast. I don't need to worry about the next meet. Fuck it. I won't even train for 3 weeks. I'll go in for a couple days. Suit feels good if you're still a gear whore, like 1 in the whole place, maybe 2, which is a high percentage compared to the sport. But if it doesn't sound right in the gym, why does it sound right for life or for business? If there's a takeaway there, you gotta work hard. Always. It's not always fun. What is your time worth? God, I love this one. Who determines this? First off, who determines what your time's worth? You? Okay, let's assume it's you. You want to sell your services to the market. You want to be the next great guru online coach. You want to go out there and, you know what, I'm the shit. I'm going to charge $2,000 a month. Make your Instagram post. 2 spots left. Act now. Sign up. DM me. Tell me how many people you get signed up. Oh, that didn't work. Shit, guess you're not worth $2,000. Drop it to 1,000. That didn't work. Drop it again. I don't want to mention names, but I know one big name powerlifter that has programs for $25. 6-week programs for $25. And he's posting the shit out of that. And he's probably not selling any. So his total worth, if it's according to somebody else, is about $2.50 a month. Unless he's actually trying to boost the post, then he's at a negative worth because he's spending on ads. So that begs the question, what is your time worth? What's your time valued? And then we have this back and forth, over and over and over and over. It goes back and forth, back and forth. Your time is worth what anybody is going to spend. Bottom line. Doesn't matter what your education is, what your skill level is, what your none of that matters. What matters is what the market will pay and what your market will pay. First off, that's if it's determined on the market. Now if it's determined on you, my time is worth X because I said so. So if I'm going to take a Saturday out of my time to go speak someplace, then I have to get X. Because that's time away from my family, time away from this, time away from that, time away from that. All right, so now we got that whole other area. But doesn't that still fall back onto the market? Because it's whatever the market's going to pay. The reason I point this out is we are in an industry where giving is extremely important. To me, it's very important. I've given tons of lectures about planting seeds and all this other crap, so I'll just reiterate it real fast to the standpoint of we're in an age where we have a lot of fitness professionals, keyword fitness professionals, strength coaches, personal trainers, who are making money training people. They'll give back You know, they say they write an article, they do a Q&A, they reach out to somebody online, they help somebody in the gym. You know, they take their time to try to help for no fee, no cost. And then to them, that's laying the seeds, you know, laying the foundation because they want to grow their harvest. You know, when they lay seeds, grow the harvest. And meanwhile, while they're doing this, while they're waiting for the harvest to grow, they're swinging on the trees, leaning against the trees, sitting on the benches, you know, waiting, grow, and every once in a while they'll go over there, they'll water their shit. You know, maybe they write another article, they'll water this, they'll water that, and nothing grows, and they can't figure out why in the hell nothing is growing. Then you start seeing the dialogue like, this is bullshit. I'm not gonna come in and work the desk at a gym. I'm not gonna come in and just have floor time. Fuck that person, I'm not gonna answer his questions anymore. He's not paying me anything. Because they're not seeing their own harvest coming back. But what they forget is that they are a fitness professional, which did not exist 30 years ago. They're in the forest, they're sitting on the benches, they're leaning against the trees of those people that were 40 years before us, that planted their seeds, that they are today reaping as this profession. Without those people, you guys wouldn't be sitting here. I'll tell you that right now. There'd be no strength coaches, there'd be no personal trainers. Those would not be professions. Not at all. So, when you're laying the foundation, when you're planting the seeds now, that's for the generations to come. The ones that we all sit there and say, oh God, you know, they're stupid as fuck, you know, the Tide Pods, condom challenge, they're idiots, they're lazy, all this and all that. Well, how much, yes, maybe that's all true, but what the fuck are we leaving them to come to? If we're throwing seeds on concrete, what are we giving them to come to if they're in this profession? They already stand no fucking chance according to us, and then we're guaranteeing they have no chance because there's going to be no harvest for them when they get here. That's fucking selfish. So when it comes to giving back, passing on, my own personal life motto is live, learn, pass on. Because I was never charged for the information that I have. But there's a second part of this, which I've had a hard time trying to put into words and to explain. And the closest that I've come to that is forgiveness. I'm sure you've all heard that, you know, if somebody fucks you over, it's bad, you know, some bad shit, everybody's had bad shit happen. If you haven't, you know what, you're lucky, but it's coming. Just get ready. Everybody does. And there's gonna be somebody that's gonna fuck you over. Somebody's gonna screw you over. You know what, at the same time, you're probably gonna screw somebody else over. All right, so that's a whole nother conversation on how to learn how to take personal responsibility, which is another fucking issue. But anyhow, when you're in that position, you have to remember that when you forgive somebody, and I'm sure you've been told this, and if you've been around long enough and you've been through enough bad shit, you forgive somebody not for them. You forgive them so you can let go and move forward. So forgiveness is actually a gift to yourself, not to the person you're giving to, or you're forgiving. Everybody kind of understand that concept? Okay. Giving is exactly the same thing. That's what makes us human, to be able to give. You know, when we give, that's a gift that we're giving somebody else. What they do with that gift is irrelevant. You know, I can give her $1,000 and say, invest this in your business. And then she turns around and goes online and buys $1,000 worth of fucking shoes. Should I care? No, I should not care. Because the act of giving was my gift to me, as well as a gift to her. So when you're giving back and you're helping other people, you got to understand that you're not just helping them, you're helping you. And I don't want to hear this bullshit of, well, I've helped this person in the gym over and over and over and over, and they just won't sign up, they won't be a client. Or I've helped this person online over and over and over and over, and they won't sign up, they won't be a client, this is bullshit, fuck it, I'm cutting them off. Here's the deal, man, the universe doesn't work that way. You want to tell stories about that? I'll tell you about 5, 6, probably 10 different strength coaches I've had out on a Saturday in my gym sitting with them, trying to help them evolve their own training philosophy, which ends up being about a 4 or 5 hour process of Q&As, talking with them, trying to find what they, basically trying to find what they know they don't know, or what they don't know what they don't know, or however you want to say it. And we get it all done. And they're grateful as hell. Thank you, thank you. And I charge nothing for this. And they leave, and then within 3 to 6 months later, boom, new $300,000 weight room set up by X. And that X is not Elite FTS. So you want to talk about not having a return and sitting there saying, oh, that's fucked up. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, no, that didn't piss me off. Because it did. But you know how long it took me to get over it? Like that. You know why? Because I gave all that time to him. He didn't reciprocate. But you know what? We have thousands of orders a month that come in from people I've never spoken to. The universe doesn't work the way you want it to. It works the way it works. So you give out, it will come back. It just may not come back the way you think it's going to come back. But it comes back. But I've been in this industry for 20 years. Not very many people make it 20 years in this industry. Look, hardly anybody makes it 20 years. That, I feel, is the strongest reason why I've stayed in this industry. Is I keep giving back and keep giving out no matter what. Because the universe will give back. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you, guys. Well, if there's questions, I did tell you that. If there's questions. Do I have time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions?
I'll ask you one. Like when I first started wrestling, there was a day we put on like 2 blue bands, a purple band. I missed my first one of the day, and that's when I realized, like, holy shit. Not that I was in over my head, but like needing to elevate yourself, because you know how it is. Either you're going to move forward or you're going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there an example of that, like with your training, that you, in training and in business, like as you're growing the business? Does that make sense?
If you're asking, is if there a time that I ever feel like I'm in over my head? Every week. No, I'm being 100% truthful. You know, yesterday I just heard, you know, gossip, rumor, whatever you want to call it, that an ex-employee of ours said that they resigned from the company because it's a shit show. And I took that as a compliment. First off, it's not true. You know, we gave him the option to resign or be fired. But anyhow, I want it to be a shit show. I want it to be, to a certain degree, stressful. I want to be out of that. You know, I work best when it's adverse. And I don't necessarily want to sit here and say I like it, but I found that when my back's against the wall, I fight harder. I found that I won't fucking back down. No matter what, I won't fucking back down. I've been knocked to the ground so many fucking times, I won't back down. But if I'm standing complacent, I'm the most miserable person in the world. I've had to fight for everything my entire life that I don't know how to not fight. So I don't know if I'm really the right person to answer that question, because that if I have any screws loose, that's probably one, because I do think that there's times that I self-induce the adversity just to put myself back into that place again, because complacency just drives me insane, and it will take years off my life. So at some point in time, I'm going to have to figure it out. But always, always. If I feel like that's not there, then I have to find something to put it there. And so, if I can give examples throughout, Westside was like that, every day, but I was like that before I came to Westside. So it really didn't matter. To me, it was more a matter of how do I make other people that way. And so I think I'm just hardwired from that. It's just the way I was brought up. Like I said, you got to understand when you're communicating, when I'm talking about the 5 people again, and when you grow up in a gym environment, and most of the people that you really know the best are from a gym environment. I know people that have been, in prison. I know police officers. I know people from all different types of backgrounds. I know people that have been through so much shit that their skin is so thick and they are so hardened that it takes a year, 2 years to be able to even get through. But once you finally get through to them, you got the most loyal fucking person you'll ever meet. But don't fuck them, because they'll be gone forever. So you got to understand, we know this, man. We know this from the gym because you train with the people. We used to embrace training with those people. Strength sports attracts these crazy, stupid fucks like me. Wrestling does as well. It brings them in. So when they're in there, you already know how to kind of work with that dynamic and how to work with those type of people and how to connect. And it's like, oh shit, this guy's a total dickhead. Okay, well, it just takes more time. Or this guy's a hard ass, then you find out, really, he's not. Vulgar stories left and right until you actually get to know the guy. You break through that exterior. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life. But you got to break through that exterior. Other people are the nicest person when you walk in. That's life, man. That's why I get so frustrated sometimes when I talk to people and they're talking about their own personal drama in their life. I'm like, this shit in the gym would be no big deal. But because it's at work, it's a fucking huge ordeal. What's the difference? Others? Yes.
What's your advice to someone trying to find their voice so 10 years from now, we're the ones on this stage sharing our knowledge?
Keep learning. And don't be afraid. The biggest mistakes I see today, coming from the younger generation that I'm speaking to, or staff, whatever I'm connected to enough to be able to know, is right now a lot of people, and this is not the kids, this is you guys, young, well, some of you are old, some of you not. Man, people in today's world, need to learn how to fucking take responsibility when they fuck up. Fucking up is not a bad thing. Somebody said it earlier, the only way you move forward and learn is from making mistakes. You make a mistake at my company, I'm gonna fucking tell you, good. Now we know what the hell's broke. Let's try to find a solution to fix it. But when the fucking mistake is broken, it's kind of obvious how it happened. And you're like, I know it was her. Man, no. And this is coming from a CEO as well. So take that with a grain of salt, because when you do run a company, all mistakes are mine. I have no staff mistakes, they're all mine. I have no customer service mistakes, they're all mine. I have no employee mistakes, they're all right. All the mistakes with that company, they are mine, they are not my staff's. Right? That comes with running the company. All the success of the company is not mine, it's theirs. So it comes with that. So the biggest thing I can say is learn to take responsibility. And the thing is, when you learn to take responsibility, that's also going to learn to make you step out and try to put yourself in more adverse, try to make yourself be more comfortable being, whatever the fuck it is. But to stretch a little bit more, and to think that you can't continue your education is stupid. It's the dumbest thing in the world. To think that you've hit a level where you've graduated or you know all you need to know and you don't have to get smarter anymore. And I'll give you a perfect example to solidify this point. If I hire somebody today and I bring them in for marketing, all right, so that's their job, and they know, you know, Facebook ads, Google ads, they know all the social media bullshit, but they also know real marketing. Now, in 3 years, if they never increase their skill set, they just do their job, all right, do their job over and over and over and kind of keep up with whatever's going on with their job and do it over and over and over again. And then over the period of the next 5 years, they get cost of living increases, raises, bonus, or whatever it is. So say they start at X amount of dollars, and now 5 years later, they're making $30,000 more. And then I review them. Okay, what the fuck? Now this person's making twice what we brought him in at, but the skill set's still here. And 5 years have gone by, and I can now hire somebody for half the price of what this person's value is in the market, because they're coming out with, that's how fast technology changes. So by this person not staying on top and staying educated in their craft or their field, and this is outside of company time, this is just, that's their craft, that's their passion, that's their profession, that's their responsibility. It's not my responsibility to give somebody a book and say, study for 2 hours on our time. Like, you either keep up your game, or 5 years from now, I'm going to bring somebody in at half what you're making that's going to do twice the job you do. And that's every profession. That's strength and conditioning, that's everything. So if you're not spending X amount, at least an hour a day, you know, trying to hone your craft or trying to become better or increase your skill set, you're fucked. I don't care if you have a PhD or don't, you're just fucked. That's how the market works. Now, if it's your own business, it's compounded tremendously. Because I don't have to know everything about everything, but I gotta know enough about everything to be able to fucking hire the people that know more. That's where the knowledge age that we're in now has made it really, really hard for the business owner. Because you used to just be able to go hire whatever laborer that you needed. Now you gotta hire a knowledge worker. So I gotta interview somebody on social media marketing or whatever it is. And I don't have a clue what the fuck it is. How the hell can I even interview the person? You see what I'm saying? So keep your knowledge, skill set, build up, learn to take responsibility, and everything else is gonna take care of its own. It's really not that complicated. It's what the biggest takeaway of all of this, of all these things, of the gym and all these that I put up there and every one that I didn't put up there. If you really want to know how you can find your own personal success, first off, defined by you. Nobody else has the right to define your success. If you want to know how to find your own personal success, you want to know what the real secret for that is, it's what you do when nobody else is looking. I can say without a doubt, the days that I'm making a Facebook story are my least productive days that I have. Because it's a fucking distraction the whole time. All right, and that's shit that I'm doing when nobody's watching. Go back to the gym. What really matters if you're training for a sport, an event, or a competition? The main lift that people will film and put on Instagram, or all the daily stupid shit you have to do, like abs and reverse hypers and bird dogs and planks or whatever, all that crap that nobody films, that is what takes you to the top. If you're working in a business, the accolades, the things people pat you on the back on and say, good job, great presentation, whatever it is, that shit don't get you to the top. What gets me to the top is answering the fucking 200 emails every day, answering all the DMs, watching the financial statements, controlling expenses, doing the boring shit over and over, just like the fucking reverse hypers that I hated so bad, and the abs that I hated so bad. It's that stuff that's going on in my office when nobody's looking. The stuff you do in the gym when nobody's looking. The stuff you're doing at home when nobody's looking. The stuff that you give when nobody's looking. It's easy to give when you want everybody to see how awesome you are. Give when nobody's looking. That's a big part of the Bible, by the way. I'll throw that out there because Eric already opened that box. But it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be in every motivational book. It wouldn't be in everything that you've ever read about business and everything else if it didn't fucking matter. I'm telling you, it matters. I'm not that fucking smart. It matters. I barely graduated high school. Had to fight to get through college. I can sit here and lay out my adversities left and right, have you guys in tears with the shit that I had to go through, but there's no fucking reason why I should be standing here. Except for the fact that I kept giving when I didn't want to give anymore. And I always took care of the things that had to be taken care of when nobody was looking. Kind of sucked when people were looking at meets and shit like that, when you really want to do well, I wasn't really so well. But I was better when nobody was looking. There's some other questions over here. Yeah.
What made you want to make equipment instead of, let's say, just like providing coaching or content? Normally you don't see the two together like you do with Elite FTS. So what sparked like the decision to be an equipment company for you?
Louis. I mean, I can't give a presentation without giving credit back to Louis in one way or another. But, I mean, a quick run through company history that I promise I'll do fast is I had a consulting company that kind of spun off of helping Louis doing consulting and seminars and so forth. So the education groundwork was kind of laid. Louis was really a big, big push for the free education for me. And that was not because of anything he ever said. It was the actions I saw him do. I saw him sit on the phone and talk to somebody about one of their lifts for 45 minutes while we were waiting to get to a patent meeting that he had to get get the reverse hyper patent passed. He was 45 minutes late to a fucking meeting that was actually probably the biggest meeting in his entire life because he was more concerned with that person's fucking lift. And that's not just a one-off thing. That was over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's when I started thinking, you know what, he's helped me more than anybody in my life. But then I thought back to all the other people that have helped me through the gym. So the passing on, I do not feel right charging for education. Personally, to me it's a violation. It's not fulfilling why I was put on this earth. I was put on this earth to help people become better. It's just strength happened to be the means that I fell into to be able to help do that. And if I was to charge for that, how many people less am I going to help? So it was a matter of how do we use the strength and how can I give that away for free but then pay for it? You still got to pay for bandwidth and all this kind of shit I didn't know about when I started. You still got to pay for it. It's not like all these articles just pop up for free. I mean, there's a ton of content we put out. It doesn't just happen. People got to be paid. A whole media staff has to be paid. And at the time, when I was doing the consulting, I was also selling small products like sleds and so forth. And Louis had his own equipment that he was selling. And it was like racks and benches and a reverse hyper and something else. And so I was selling kind of through him, through my company. My company was a separate company just because I was doing personal training as well. And then the people building his shit kind of flew the coop. And I was kind of left stuck holding the bag on a lot of money and a lot of customers that had 6 months late for equipment and didn't have the money to refund the equipment. So I found another manufacturer with his blessing, as he was looking and scrambling. Actually, for a long time, if you know his history, he just said, fuck it. No equipment except the reverse hyper. Because it's not an easy thing to navigate. I happen to find, by divine intervention, I happen to find one of the best manufacturers in the country and was able to work a deal with them for exclusivity, and that's how it became. But then we found that it's seasonal. Every product is seasonal. So I had to balance the seasonality which is where the knee wraps, the t-shirts, and all the other stuff come in, because it's a different season. So it's trying to balance it. And I wanted to have products that help lifters that put training as a top priority become better. So I'm not going to sell crap equipment. So people that complain about the price, you know what, go buy a piece of shit. I don't care. You know, I'm building shit for 1,200 pound squatter, 1,000 pound squatter. If you squat 300, yeah, maybe it's overbuilt for you, but I'm not going to make a 300 pound squat rack. Sorry. You know, I figure if you make it for the 1,000 pound squatter, it's pretty much taking care of everybody else. So that's kind of how I fell in there. Then I fell in love with seeing how I can change it. And I can go on a tangent there, because we were the first people to put band pegs on racks and the monkey chin bars and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm not going to say we invented a goddamn thing, because nobody invented anything. But I like tweaking the stuff, because as a lifter, if you've ever been in a gym 20 years ago and you just tried to use machines for whatever reason, they're all fucked up. It's like the leg press is killing your back, the hack squat kills your knees. So we changed all that, you know, to kind of make it so it could fit. So that's roughly how it fell in there. But if it wasn't for Louis in the very beginning, I would not have a company, because he was gone, man. He was like, fuck it, take my manta rays, take my weight releasers. There's like 5 other products. Just take them and pay me back on consignment. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. It still didn't make me any money. And it still took forever to make money, but it got all the crap off of his plate, and it helped to start what we have now. Yes, other questions? Yes.
What kind of business practices do you think private facilities are going to need to adopt or adjust to move forward? It seems like you mentioned a lot of people have a job now as a trainer or strength coach, and people making a living from it, but a lot of the private facilities seem to be struggling still, or people burn out, or 5 or 10 years down the line, I wonder how many places will still be open. What kinds of things will the owners need to be doing to prevent the challenges that we're facing now?
There's a couple of different directions to answer the question. From the owner's standpoint, they need to realize when they're starting to become irrelevant. All right, so there's probably going to be a point where being on the floor as an owner isn't really where your strength is. As soon as you start a business, you become a business owner. I refuse to use the word entrepreneur, by the way. You become a business owner as soon as you start a business. And so that means no longer is training your number one job description. Owning the business became your number one job description. So that has to be understood first. The second thing that needs to be understood is if you get everything rolling, yes, you're still going to have to train people, because you won't have the capital to be able to do, to do both. So you're going to have to do both. But as soon as it gets to a point where you're like, you know what, man, you start to feel like you're losing, then you got to bring in people who really do want to do it. The younger people, you got to learn how to manage the younger people and communicate with the younger people that are where you were 10 years ago, that would fucking do anything to train athletes. Bring them in and drive off their energy to be able to use your energy to be able to grow vertically or horizontally or whatever you need to do. That's the answer from that standpoint. The answer from the other standpoint is facility owners need to understand that we're in an age of branding. So when you're talking about, you walk into a facility, you're going to see one of two things when you walk in. You're either going to see a rig or you're going to see a rack. It's whatever you have in there. That's where the eye directs. If your logo is not plastered on there, you are fucking up. All right, there's a reason why every university has their training centers with customized equipment. Name logos, name plates. There's a reason why we do that shit for people, the spot athletics and all that other kind of stuff. That increases your perceived value when people walk through the door. All right, that rack's got your name on it. That platform's got your logo on it. The upcharge on that, what is it? Give me a ballpark. $500 maybe? It's nominal compared to what the return back is, compared to just a fucking rack that you bought off eBay for no fucking money, that it does nothing to drive the business or to drive the referrals. People need to walk in there, I like to use JL's place as a good example now. The new spot, if you see a picture of that, people walk in there like, holy shit, this place is for real. Well, right there just gives you permission to up your rates by 25% or more, which is going to more than take care of whatever the upgrade was on the equipment for the branding. And so the branding has to go in there. So on our end, to help meet that need, we're looking at all different types of branding options. Like, can we put a custom plate on the back of a belt squat machine, you know, that's got the logo? And we have no problem putting your logo all fuck over. We did Zoo Culture Gym, which nobody really knows. There's not one of our logos on any of that shit. You know, what's that? Yeah. So it's, none of our stuff's on it. It's all branded his. What's his business? You know, so every video that goes out there, he's seeing the Zoo Culture, people walk in there, Zoo Culture, Zoo Culture. He doesn't want to walk in there and have people see, you know, I don't want to name any competitors, and see that name, because all that's doing is reinforcing all their brand. So those are the little tiny things you have to think about, because sometimes that difference in upgrade, and it can be the difference between having a wall that's not painted or a wall that's got a painted logo. You know what I'm saying? Or what your brand logo actually looks like and what it says. You know, what color is it? What does that color represent? You know, all those little stupid little details, they all matter now, because there's more gyms. I think Columbus has got like 9,000 gyms. I mean, it's ridiculous how many are in there. So how do you compete? You're certainly not going to compete with a bunch of used eBay shit. I don't care how good of a coach you are. People are still going to step in and go, wow. Now, actually, in front of that one is you have to have a solid referral system. And you have to always be changing it. You always have to be diagnosing it, dialing it in, because that's where all your clients are coming from. And I don't even know your business, but if your clients aren't coming from referrals, you're fucking up. It's referrals. So people are all concerned with Instagram and social media and this and this and this. Like, that's gonna bring them fucking people through their door? Seriously? Like, focus on the referral business. And if there's a way you can build the Instagram into the referral business, then yeah, definitely, you know, try it and see. But I guarantee working on some type of referral program with current clients and testing different things is going to have a much greater return than the 3 hours you're going to spend tapping out stupid Instagram posts every day.
Okay, can I ask a quick follow-up?
Yeah.
On social media, do you think there's a point at which, I mean, if you're tracking and you're not getting a return, which for us can be leads or calls or messages or whatever we want to track, if you're not getting a return, do you think that there's a point at which you could just cut those out, or does it now in 2018 need to be something that is sort of just a baseline?
I think you find that, and this is kind of cool that you asked that, because in training, we have a concept called training economy, which is you always want to train with the minimum effective dose, because anything more than that you can't really recover from. All right, so you find whatever that minimal effective dose might be. It might be 1 post, 2 posts a week, and that's it. You know, just some info post, and just leave it at that. You don't want to ever let it go where somebody else can take your name, because it is still a trademark, and you don't want it dead, because if prospects do look and see that there's been no post in 6 months, they're going to wonder if you're even still in business. So you got to find the minimal effective dose, but it most certainly for a training center is not like 8 posts a day. It's just not. And if you are a training center and you want to try to utilize social media, what I've always told people is, and I hate phones in the gym, but I'm slowly coming around, but I still fucking hate it with a passion. I like it at the desk. All right, I have no problem with that, because I've been on the receiving end of somebody that was on the way to the hospital with a heart attack and had to have the phone, you know, call there. So I'm not saying leave your phone. I'd be the last person to tell anybody to leave your phone in the car. I think that's fucking irresponsible and stupid, especially if you have a family. But hand the client the phone. If the client's is going to do a PR, going to do something they've never done before, hand one of their training partners the phone and have them post it to their Instagram. Not yours. Who gives a fuck about yours? Those people on yours already know you. They already know your company exists. Put it on there, or you have one of your trainers take it and film it. And then while they're filming it, they automatically put in the geotag, they put in the hashtag, and they put in the tag back to you. And then when they hand it to the client to actually post it, the client will tap in, great day today, and then they post it, and now you just got shown in front of all their friends. Who gives a shit about your friends? Plus they just tagged you, so later on that night, if you want to repost it, you can repost it. That's where I see there's value for the training centers at this point in time. And watch the, on Instagram, I'm huge on the DMs because I'll answer every DM, and I can explain that in a minute. But if somebody DMs you on Instagram and you don't have anybody that's replying back to it, you're dead to them. And that could have been a prospect that's interested. I reply back because it lets people know it's actually my account, and it lets people, I can build a personal kind of, for digital, online relationship. And even if they ask a question, there's only so many characters you have to answer it in. So it doesn't occupy like 10 hours of my day. And I get over 100 DMs a day. My whole goal with my Instagram is to get more DMs. That's my Instagram strategy. I post shit to try to get rid of followers, but I post stuff to get rid of followers, but to also try to get more DMs. Because I can build that personal relationship, and then if I build that personal relationship from a business standpoint, and they have a choice on where they're gonna buy their wraps from, who are they gonna go with? Yeah.
What are, obviously, been in the industry for a while, what are things like from a business owner standpoint that you have seen are the most important thing from your employees that you've gotten or expect over, because we're a relatively young, three years, going in 4 years, being a company, so what are those things that are important from your employees?
It's hard. I mean, it really is. It's like I said earlier, leadership is one of the hardest skills to learn. It's very hard for me. I have a demeanor, Nate can probably attest to this. In the office, everybody thinks I'm pissed all the time. And it's just the way I carry myself. And I mean, people on Instagram think I'm pissed off. I'm not even pissed off. I'm just fucking around. To me, I'm like joking around. But, so I have to kind of fight that, that whole stigma with that. But the old adage of hire slow, fire fast is definitely true, but it's really hard to do. So I'm not gonna stand up here and say we've lived by that motto all the time, but I will tell you that if you have an employee that is starting to become a virus, even if it's a small virus, get rid of it. I've never seen a small virus not become a big one, ever. I've never seen one write-up turn somebody completely around and become a different employee. So I'm to the point now where it's, if there's a first write-up, just get rid of them. I don't give a fuck if we have to pay more unemployment, just get rid of them. Because it will cost us less in the long run just to get rid. Now hiring becomes a whole nother thing. There's a book called Top Grading, and there's a smaller, easier version to read that's called Who. So Top Grading would be more like the textbook version. Who would be more like the Barnes & Noble version, which runs through a 3-step hiring process, which I think works really well. Because you gotta really dig deep when you hire, because everybody lies, or they don't tell the truth. There's things they're not saying. So you have to become really good at asking questions like, at your last position, did you have a conflict with anybody? No. Really? Not anybody? Well, there was this one dude. Well, what was his name? Greg. So when I call Greg and ask him how this conflict was resolved, what will he tell me? All right, now, just through that questioning process, you're thinking, fuck, he's gonna call Greg. So I'm more likely to get a truthful answer from you. And if I think it's bullshit, yeah, I'm gonna call the dude. And I'm gonna find out. So it's just, that type of deep dive interviewing is gonna be way more effective than how would you teach a split squat? You can teach all that shit. What you can't teach are the values and the responsibility and the accountability and all that other kind of stuff. So just falling back on the education part, read more stuff on hiring, recruiting, and stuff like that, and just don't go by some article that you found online. do a deep dive into that. But that's the one, top rating is probably the one source that I found to be the most effective.
Sorry, I may have worded the question wrong. I'm an employee, and I want to know what I can do to help, like, basically, like, my own
Exceed
job.
every one of their expectations. It's that fucking simple. And this is, employers have learned to accept the minimum out of people. So I'm an employer that I'm trying to always try to increase the standard. But you can't go from here to here. So I'm always trying to up that standard at the level that they can take without them thinking, oh, fuck, are we all going to get fired? Is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? And trust me, it's hard. They know what I'm talking about. You don't. It's really fucking hard because you want to get them to perform better and you want to give them the education to be able to perform better and to be able to help with that. But I'm not going to put them on the spot, but if I had somebody else sitting here that's had 100 employees, and I said, out of all the 100 employees that you've ever had, how many, is there anybody in here that's ever had 100 employees? I'll just test my thing here. I didn't think so. But if I asked them, how many out of that 100 actually exceeded your expectations? That number would always be less than 2. So you exceed the expectations. Trust me. It's like, this is something I'm trying to ingrain into my kids. Learn how to exceed expectations. You may not be rewarded immediately because there's still something called money and capital that has to be there to reward. But when you begin to exceed those expectations of what they actually expect to do, you become way more fucking valuable. Way more valuable. And so when the capital comes in, guess where it's going to go? It's not going to go to the slapdick that won't bend over to pick up the piece of gum that's been sitting on the floor for 2 days. So that's what it is. So that's as easy as I can make it. The other thing you can do is when you leave, go out to dinner with them and say, hey, what can I do to help exceed your expectations? I'll guarantee you they will tell you. You know how I know? Because I just told them to. So if they don't, they're going to look like dicks. Other ones? Yes?
I got one more quick one, just kind of going off his. So you're talking about the referral system.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a set system where you refer someone, I give you this, or is you just talking general word of mouth, like around?
I'm kind of getting out of my scope because I don't have a gym, okay? But it can be in a lot of different things. Like a referral system to me is completely different, being an online business, than what yours would be. But it could be an incentive program that you have, for your own clients. Like if you bring in a client, we'll give you a month, which is usually a shitty referral system. Like anything that comes to your mind really fast is usually shitty. Or anything that you've seen done like 100 times before, it's usually shitty. The ones that you don't hear about, they're the ones that are usually producing, and the reason you don't hear about it is because the people that are making it work don't want you to know, because you could be their next competitor. So you have to be, you can search, this is where Google search does actually help a lot, where you can search referrals and referral systems and get outside of the fitness scope. Because fitness people are stupid, when it comes to business. I really do think that most of them, all they're concerned about is selling you their business advice. That they don't care about helping you with your referral system. They want to make the $2,000 off you're going to pay them to come to their seminar to tell you how to make referrals. Then you're going to sit in the seminar thinking, I've read this shit in every book I've ever been to, So, but if you search around enough, you'll see specks of drops inside blogs. If you look at real estate, car sales, you start to dig into like what other professions strictly rely on referrals, and then look at what they do. But I'd say hairdressers, hair salons, that type of thing, because it's really not the same as car business, because the car, they're in and out. You're seeing the same person day after day after day after day. So a very, very simple referral system that I used when I was still training people, and I did that for 10 years, is you always have to put a name to a face. So if you have a client that comes in on Monday, and hands of how many people train clients? They're the most gabby fucking people in the world, right? Yap, 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 all the time. Am I wrong? Is it still the same? I mean, it's been a long time. Okay, they're gonna tell you what they did over the weekend, even if you don't even ask. But if you ask, it's not like this, ooh, you just triggered me with that question. You know, it's not like a bad question to ask. They're gonna tell you. All right, so then you start talking about, say it's a barbecue or whatever it was. Now you can start saying, drop a question like, hey, by any chance, was there anybody at that barbecue that you think might be interested in the services that we offer? Because now they're not now they're thinking of those 5 people. John, Jenny, Rick, Jim, you know, Cindy. All right, you put a name, a face to a name. Yeah, Cindy might be. All right, then I would say, I got to go back because it's been a while. I would say, do you mind calling her for me and seeing if she would be interested in the service? And I know what you're already thinking. They're not going to do it. I know they're not going to do it. You know they're not going to do it. When they come back that next session, though, you're going to say, hey, did you ever get a chance to call Cindy about coming in for a session? No, I completely forgot. I'm sorry. What do you mind if I call her? Now you just did that person a favor. You just took the responsibility off them and you're like, hell yeah, fucking call them. Here's their number. All right, so now, let's say her name's Jen. Now when you go to call Cindy, hey Cindy, I was talking to Jen earlier this week, and she said that you might be interested in coming in for X. And now your odds of getting that person to come in exponentially went through the roof than if you just said, as most trainers do, here's the client, hey, do you know anybody that might be interested in coming in and training? You know the answer to that. No. Well, what if we give you a free month? No. So that, for me, that's what I used. I used that kind of referral system, and then I would log it, and I'd take notes on it, and kind of go from there and just build. And that's one. But you should always say that's one. You should always be testing like 3 or 4 at a time. And if you're testing 3 or 4 at a time, you should be at max capacity within 6 months. You know, anybody that's in this field that we're in right now that's not at max capacity sucks at selling, and they suck at referrals. Because they're right there in front of you. If you have 10 clients, you don't even have to leave the gym. You just have to learn how, because birds of a feather flock together. So your clients all know people that can use your services. You know it, I know it, they don't. So you got to figure out how to strategically let them know that.
Thanks.
Any others? Cool, thank you, I think we're good.